young woman stepped out of her family's mansion on Manhattan's Upper East Side on a cold December morning. She was dressed elegantly, well-groomed, carrying a small purse and a fox fur muff. She told her mother she was going shopping. Just a normal errand, nothing unusual. She walked south along Fifth Avenue in broad daylight, blending into the crowds of one of the busiest cities in the world. She stopped at a candy shop and bought a half-pound of chocolates. She continued another 30 blocks to a bookstore and picked up a light-hearted collection of short stories. After leaving the store, she ran into a friend. They chatted casually about an upcoming party, about life, about nothing important. Before parting ways, the young woman mentioned she planned to walk home through Central Park. The friend watched her disappear into the afternoon crowds. That was the last confirmed sighting of Dorothy Arnold. She never made it home. She never contacted her family again. No body was ever found. No belongings were recovered. No explanation was ever proven. In one of the busiest cities in the world, a woman vanished without a single trace. If stories like this fascinate you, make sure to subscribe for more real-life mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. Dorothy Arnold was born into privilege. Her family was among New York's wealthiest and most respected. They lived in a large townhouse on East 79th Street. They appeared in society pages. They attended exclusive events. They were connected to powerful figures, including judges and business leaders. Her father, Francis Arnold, was a successful importer of luxury goods. Her mother came from a prominent Canadian family. Money was never a concern. Opportunity was everywhere. Dorothy and her siblings were raised to become proper members of high society. Education, etiquette, reputation, everything mattered. But beneath the polished surface, Dorothy felt trapped. She had graduated from Bryn Mawr College and developed a deep love for literature and writing. She dreamed of becoming an author, of living independently, of being part of the artistic world growing in places like Greenwich Village. But her family had different plans. They expected her to marry well, to maintain the family's social standing, to follow tradition. At 25 years old, Dorothy was already considered old to be unmarried in elite circles. The pressure to settle down was growing. Every gathering, every conversation, every expectation pushed her toward a life she didn't want. Dorothy wanted more than the life chosen for her, and quietly, she began to resist. Hidden from her family was a relationship that changed everything. Dorothy had fallen in love with a man named George Griscom. He was older, an engineer, unemployed, and completely unacceptable in the eyes of her parents. They believed he had no future, no stability, no social standing. When they found out about the relationship, they forbade Dorothy from seeing him, but Dorothy didn't listen. The two continued writing letters in secret, meeting whenever they could. In September of 1910, Dorothy slipped away from her family's summer home in Maine. She told them she was visiting a friend in Cambridge. Instead, she traveled to Boston to spend a week with George. They stayed in separate hotels, but were seen openly together. Dorothy even pawned several pieces of her jewelry to pay for the trip. Diamond rings, bracelets, a gold watch. It was rumored they considered themselves engaged. For Dorothy, it may have felt like freedom. But returning home meant returning to control, to expectations, to secrecy. Dorothy was living a double life, one of wealth and obedience, and one of hidden love and dreams of escape. At the same time, Dorothy was fighting another battle, her dream of becoming a writer. She spent hours crafting short stories, submitting them to magazines, waiting anxiously for replies. One by one, rejection letters arrived. Her family wasn't supportive. They teased her ambitions, dismissed her talent, told her writing was a hobby, not a career. Embarrassed by her persistence, Dorothy began picking up her mail privately at the post office so her family wouldn't see the rejection letters. Each failed submission chipped away at her confidence. Yet she kept trying. One letter she wrote later revealed deep discouragement. She wrote that failure was staring her in the face, that all she could see ahead was a long road with no turning. The pressure at home, the forbidden romance, the crushing disappointment. Everything was building. Dorothy's frustration was mounting, and no one around her seemed to notice. That Thanksgiving, Dorothy traveled to visit a friend in Washington, D.C. While there, she received a strange package in the mail. It was unusual for mail to arrive on Thanksgiving. She never told her friend what was inside. Shortly after receiving it, Dorothy left early and returned to New York. No explanation, no goodbye. To this day, no one knows what was in that package. Money, documents, a message, a plan. It remains one of the biggest unanswered questions in the case. What was inside that mysterious delivery? 2 weeks later came the final day. December 12th, 1910. Dorothy told her mother she was going shopping for a dress for her younger sister's debutante party. Her mother offered to come along. Dorothy declined, saying she would call if she found anything she liked. She left on foot, walked to Fifth Avenue, stopped at Park and Tilford's for chocolates, continued down to Brentano's bookstore, bought a humorous book, then met her friend Gladys King outside. They talked briefly about the upcoming party. Nothing seemed wrong. Dorothy said she was heading home through Central Park, and then she vanished. No witnesses, no struggle, no trail, just gone. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, hit like, it helps. More people discover these unsolved stories. When Dorothy didn't come home for dinner, her family was surprised but not alarmed. She often visited friends, stayed out late, but as the night passed, worry began to grow. They quietly called friends and relatives. No one had seen her. Still, they avoided contacting police. The Arnolds feared scandal, publicity, damage to their reputation. Instead, they hired a young attorney to make discreet inquiries. He searched Dorothy's bedroom, found letters, some with foreign stamps, brochures from steamship companies, as if she had been researching travel. In the fireplace were burned papers, impossible to read. Hospitals were checked, morgues visited, nothing. Eventually, they hired the Pinkerton Detective Agency. The famous private investigators spread the search across the country and overseas, checking ships, marriage records, hotels, still nothing. It began to look like Dorothy had simply vanished, almost as if someone expected her to leave. 6 weeks after Dorothy disappeared, her father finally went public. The case exploded in the newspapers. Her face appeared everywhere. Stories ran daily. Rumors flooded in, sightings from all over the country. She was seen in Idaho, in Europe, in Hawaii, in Philadelphia, in rescue missions, in hospitals. None were real. One day the family even received a postcard that read simply, "I am safe." It was signed Dorothy. Her father believed it was a cruel hoax. Anyone could have copied her handwriting from the papers. Every lead collapsed. Every hope faded. The mystery only deepened. As attention grew, darker theories emerged. Some believed Dorothy had been murdered while walking through Central Park. Her father thought she may have been attacked and thrown into the reservoir. Police searched the water, found nothing. Others suggested human trafficking, but there was no evidence. Some believed she had eloped and started a new life, but she left with only a small amount of cash no luggage, no preparation, and never contacted anyone she loved. The suicide theory gained traction. Based on her frustration with writing, the pressure from her family, the gloomy letter she had written. But her cheerful demeanor on the day she vanished didn't fit. She bought chocolates, a humorous book, spoke happily with her friend. Nothing pointed clearly to despair. Every theory came with massive holes. No body, no proof, just speculation. Then came one of the strangest chapters. In 1914, police raided a private maternity hospital outside Pittsburgh, a place later nicknamed the House of Mystery. It was rumored to perform illegal operations. Some patients had allegedly died there. There were furnaces large enough to burn bodies, a pit filled with quicklime. A doctor claimed Dorothy Arnold had been a patient there and had died. But no records were found, no bodies recovered. Another witness claimed to have seen Dorothy there years earlier, but descriptions didn't match. Investigators searched the building thoroughly. Nothing proved the claims. It became another sensational story with no evidence. 2 years later, a prisoner confessed to helping bury a woman near a mansion outside New York. He said she died after an operation gone wrong. Claimed he was certain it was Dorothy Arnold. Police dug up the property. No remains were found. The man later retracted his story. Another lead went cold. Eventually, authorities gave up. Police concluded Dorothy was likely dead. The investigation ended. Her parents never learned the truth. Her father believed she had been murdered. Her mother held on to hope that she was alive somewhere, possibly suffering from amnesia. Both died without answers. Over time, theories continued to circulate, but nothing ever came close to proof. Dorothy Arnold vanished in broad daylight, in one of the most crowded cities in the world. She had money, a family, a future, yet she disappeared as if erased. No body, no belongings, no explanation. Dorothy Arnold didn't just disappear. She erased herself from history. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Dorothy took her own life? Was she murdered in Central Park? Did she run away to start over? What do you think was in that mysterious package she received? Share your theories in the comments. Let's discuss what you believe really happened. Over a century later, Dorothy Arnold's fate remains unknown, and New York's coldest case is still frozen in time.